Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Abduction. We're still reading shit here because no, not that we read that in the last video. Because there is a lot of shit in this game to read. To listen, it's like something is missing. Yes. Communication, talking with our neighbors. We take communication for granted even with the varied languages we find here in Hunrath, like what, English? But when we suddenly find ourselves among other intelligent species who don't share our culture, history, DNA, or vocal cords, it requires a huge amount of effort for the beginning of rudimentary chatting. This quick overview will set the stage for what to expect when communicating with our neighbors, the Mofag. The Mofag were the first non-humans we met, with at least some level of similar physical vocal generating abilities. They picked up human words quickly. This early mimicry resulted in what the species came to be called. Okay. Even though they were able to mimic single words and simple phrases, it became evident over the years that huge grammatical differences were not easily overcome. Some have proposed that the difficulty may have arisen because the Mofag insisted on attempting to learn every human language and as a result were never able to lock on to any consistent grammatical structure. Nevertheless, in spite of the rudimentary sentence construction, it has been very easy to communicate, and it has been unnecessary for us to learn their language beyond a few simple phrases and proper names. That's kind of elitist of you. If you would like to learn more about communication with the Mofag, please contact Tam. Of course, all these people are dead now, so it doesn't really matter. Villains. Villains have presented a particular communication challenge. From what we can gather, they produce sounds using two large reed-like structures inside opposite sides of their heads. The vibrations generated are channeled to resonance chambers in their skulls, where they are combined into a complex low-frequency dual tone. The low-frequency bitonal sounds are not only hard for humans to hear and resolve, but impossible for us to mimic. And the VLA hearing is also oriented towards low frequency, so they are unable to hear most of sounds associated with human speech. Therefore, communication with the VLANs has relied on technology. They have adapted consoles, which the VLANs frequently control with vocalization, for use by other species. Over the years, some individuals of other species, including a few humans, have learned to communicate very effectively using this method. Humans have been able to pick out some higher frequency characteristics of certain key VLAN words over the years, and although we can't speak to them in a way that the VLANs can understand, we are occasionally able to hear and recognize these words when spoken distinctly by a VLAN. If you'd like to learn more about communication with the VLAN, please contact Vito, other dead people. The Uri. None of the stages of the Uri morphology have any vocalization apparatus. Because of the obvious synchronization of the barnacle flash, see, I picked up on that, and the ability of the pawns to provide for and address the needs of the polyarchs, I would assume that this species could communicate effectively. It's not until Farley began to spend large amounts of time in the polyarch antechamber that the first clues to their communication became evident. After months of research, Farley began to have limited success with receiving some kind of simple messages that were coming from the polyarchs. It is apparent now that the polyarchs had been attempting to communicate the entire time, but they themselves had been experimenting with various channels until they finally got a response from Farley. After this breakthrough, others were able to tune into the polyarchs and learn to listen. Both the polyarchs and the pawns have a simple organ that can sense human vocal frequency, enabling them to sense simple responses from humans, but over the years, Farley was able to learn to speak to the polyarchs via a related form of extrasensory transmission. If you would like to learn more about communication with the Uri, please contact More Dead People. Okay. Okay, we are done. Thank you. Seed information. Oh god. Ambassador seeds. Ambassador seeds were first documented about 150 Earth years ago. They occur about once every 400 days if the trees remain healthy. Natural seed swaps occur between pairs of seeds that we now know drop simultaneously from healthy trees in paired spheres. When each seed was touched by a species in sphere, the swap occurred, sending an ambassador from each sphere to the parent sphere. Well, what if they weren't touched at the same time? Location of the swap is defined by the location of the pairs of seeds. After the first swap, the seeds recharge quickly, allowing for a quick return. What? What is this return? Because when there's a swap, usually it's not. First meetings were intense but naturally short. Oh, okay. So the seed, it doesn't transfer permanently. It's like they swap meet and then yeah. So it was quite a surprise for both the Mofag and us. Over time, the seeds required more time to recharge, producing longer visits between the species. Okay. Collector seeds. This is probably the ones that take larger sections and dump them in the other place. Everyone who arrives is familiar with the collector seeds, the bright light that we were all drawn to right before the event that brought us here is a collector seed. What new arrivals may not be aware of is that these seeds, like all seeds, come in pairs. When the tree drops a collector seed on the ground, it signals that the twin has begun its quest for a new being. The search may take hours or it may take years. When an appropriate situation, a natural threat of death, is found, the seed activates and swaps a similar but varying sized sphere from Earth or wherever appropriate homeworld here to Hunrath. As Hunrath became more populated, we would watch for a newly dropped seed, collect it, and place it in the entry canyon area. This allowed us to provide a more predictable entry experience for new arrivers and provide a single area to collect any resources that may have come along with the new arriver. But if that's individuals, but what about like the big houses and stuff? You couldn't collect those and move them because they're like Farley's house is attached to a piece of concrete. Unlike ambassador seeds and mother seeds, collector seeds do not seem to survive. The inner core is spent, leaving only the lifeless outer husk. Mother seeds postulated but unverified. First suggested by Alim Mahamson in Number and Hunrath Reckoning, the notion of mother seeds extrapolates the behavior of the lesser seeds to a super seed. She posited that the process that actually created the parent spheres was similar to all other swaps but on a much grander scale. The idea is that two seeds from a mother tree were scattered on the galactic winds to find appropriately similar environments. When matches were found, some processes were triggered that swapped larger portions of landscape between vastly different worlds. Olima further noted that trees' locations in the center of the sphere suggested that the trees grew from these mother seeds. Because of the similarities, it has been conjectured that re-swapping the entire environment spheres might be possible with a larger scale version of the ambassador seed machine. Yeah, that's fascinating. Okay, I'm done reading you. Please go away. That thing is blinding. We should probably turn it off now that it's done its job. This is probably useless. This is the welcome to Hunrath thing. But just in case. Oh, welcome to Earth. Please give us a bit of information about you so we can get to know you. Blah, 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 blah. I have just arrived and was charged by supply. Driving by supply truck along the something south of Manakana when I recall being washed away and the seed appeared. The last thing I recalled is a large rumbling. I was hiding in a cellar of a vacant building. I ran towards a bright light in a stairwell. On my boat in bad storm. United States of America. Skiing at Mount Hood. Well, you were just stupid then. The other ones were like caught in natural disasters, and you're just like, I'm gonna go skiing. Okay, so we're gonna pause this, and maybe we'll go to the mayor's house. I'll figure out what else we need to do here. Okay, so this is multi-purpose VLAN control panel interface. So this is also, I guess, how we communicate with them. This is the control panel that the VLANs have supplied for our use. Although they are able to control their systems via vocalization, they have provided these control panels for other species to have limited access and control. If you have troubles, please find somebody for help. They're probably dead. Remember, the VLAN numbering system is base 4. Drag from one blob to another to form the VLAN digits. I think we got that. Drag between blobs to disconnect. The standard panel has 5 digits, but single digit panels are also used. Right. Use only first digit to simulate a 1-digit panel. 0 to 3. All panels will autocorrect for invalid entries. Okay, I still don't understand what that all means. But apparently this wasn't the mayor's office. We need to go further upstairs, I guess. What, I can't access it from this angle? How about this angle? How about now? God damn, this thing is finicky. Let me push it. Okay, this is back where we were, I think. No, maybe we go, there's a... Does this go down somewhere? There we go. This is the mayor's office that I wanted, I think. What are you? Mr. Mayor, at your behest, here is the information pertaining to the bleeder, its history, and some of the engineering behind it. Yeah, when we can get to this, this will be important. The Bleeder project was designed and built at the request of Mayor Sims to collect and dissipate the ever-increasing power in the entire ecosystem. Mayor Sims was reluctant to allow the system to come to fruition, and he and others had become suspicious of Mayor Farley's death. He believed that without knowing more precisely what would happen to the cell wall at fruition, it was ill-advised to allow it to possibly open, thus allowing what might be outside in and what might be inside out. The system has the capacity to throttle all 4 connecting worlds. Why do you want to throttle the worlds? The idea, as you are well aware, is to suppress the ecosystem power and thus inhibit full maturity of the trait. It was postulated and since became apparent that this suppression will keep whatever unknown maturity process from happening and grant us direct control over the tree's fruition. Well, now I understand why you want to do this and why you, Mr. CW, because I'm assuming you wrote this, are evil. Yep, Written by CW. The rate of dissipation is sensed and regulated automatically. The power is collected through Violet engineered extruder cables that attach directly to the dome membrane. That's why it looks like they go nowhere. When the maximum power level is exceeded, dissipation phase is triggered, creating an electrical charge followed by a discharge into the water. Through electrolysis, an amount of hydrogen and oxygen is generated. We capture some of these elements for our own use, but the great majority is released into our atmosphere. That doesn't sound safe. This gassing might be a cause for concern were it not for the ecosystem's ability to filter and maintain our atmosphere at near ideal levels. Exudes H and O content and pressure generated by the process is rebalanced quickly by the membrane. And as you know, we discourage swimming when the bleeder is operational. Yeah, because it's discharging electricity into the water. Genius. Yeah, I find that very suspicious because, like, it's saying that the guy that he's deliberately trying to keep the tree from maturing. Like, the idea is that when the tree matures, the barrier will open. Oh, the barrier will open, which means that we have to deactivate the bleeder so that the tree will mature and then we can get out. This is why CW is evil, because he just wants to fucking control everything. What? No, this is where how we came in. Go back. There's a notebook. I want to read about your secret meetings. Come on, goddammit. There's supposed to be another notebook around here. Where is it? That's the elevator. Oh, here we go. It's on this table. This notebook. Okay. Special Council Session 2. Why does it not start at 1? Discussion of finally approval of Farley's plan with regards to the imminent attack. The full council vote was unanimous and I gave my final approval. Preparation update. Farley says the tunneling is almost complete. Oh, tunneling. That might be important. That informs us the village just completed their construction and have started testing. Testing what? Special Council Session 12. Oh, this is 11. So there's many council sessions. No one attended. I will inquire as to reason for their absence. What, your next council session? It appears the council members feel like we're having too many meetings. Since the plan has been approved, perhaps we can reduce our meetings to every 2 days for now. While I was asking... Okay, this is just going to go over a little bit. Cecil, about his absence, I also inquired about securing the tower area. Special Council Session 13. Cecil will provide a new key code. Cecil, I think, is probably CW. For the lower lock, the next few days, Cecil was concerned about any survivors not having access, so it was decided that we would conceal the code in Farley's house and give the residents the location as they were blah blah blah. I also had changed the upper tower access code. A clue to the code has been placed under the direction of our first mayor. Okay. I have decided to bring some of the more important mayor's logs with me for chambering, specifically the initial Hunrath log and the logs that documented the history of our conflict with the Mofang. I think we would have an extra chamber available for historic documents. Special Council Session 14. Only Tham attended. He informed me that because of the dire circumstances, the others were either extremely busy or not inclined to have long discussions about the situation. I told him I would suspend the regular special council sessions and we would simply meet as need arose. I paid a visit to Farley today. I asked her to check on the availability of a chamber for the documents. I've spent the last few days collecting documents. I've divided them into two categories, chambered and vaulted. Vaulted are less important, but obviously worth making an effort to save. They can be moved into Farley's vault area. Where is Farley's vault area? The vaulted category will also include any books that we've managed to collect over the years. With less than a week remaining before chambering begins, the population is tense. We've had several town hall meetings, as opposed to special meetings, to try and answer any questions. The reality is the current situation make it difficult to assuage fears. Farley has informed me that there is one final confirmation from Shavar. If Farley doesn't hear from her by the end of this day, then there is no turning back. There is an odd justice to Farley's plan, that whatever the Mofang bastards send to kill us will be returned back to them. Special Council Session 15. A special meeting was called to go over the plans for the final time. Farley has several instruction sheets to distribute. The Mofang weapon illustration, a list of all, that must be that blue thing, souls that will be used as a basis for the chambering manifest, and a thorough summary of the battle plan. This will be distributed as necessary. No word from Shavar. Farley tells me that there will be at least one chamber available for historic documents. Any other extra chambers will be loaded with emergency provisions and medication in case either Hunrath or Mare, which is where the villains are from, are completely destroyed. No word from Shavar. No word from Shavar. Death is on the doorstep of the Mofang Devil. Blah blah blah. I'm leaving to be chambered. This journal will remain here to inform the future souls of what our last days were like. So it says if Hunrath and Moray are completely destroyed, so that means that this chambering is like off-world somehow. They found a way to leave, probably using those seed machines. What's this thing over here? Oh, just one of those things. Alright, well, that was all the documents, and we did gain some useful insights from them. So until next time, bye!